the more attention that you put on the idea of you not sleeping, the less you're actually going to sleep. And there's been research to back the fact that counting sheep is actually a really bad thing to do if you want to fall asleep. Welcome to another solo of Habits and Hustle. We are very excited to be doing this podcast because we all love it. We all know what it is. It's about sleep. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Sleep has become...
Take a nap right now?
You could take a nap right after we finish.
Okay, great.
Sleep has become like the hottest hashtag on the internet, the World Wide Web, social media. It's the number one thing they say for health, longevity, anti-aging, just everything. That's what the new thing is. That's the top health modality. The number one health tip is to sleep. So why is it, if that is the case, why are we sleeping worse than ever when we have a million apps, a million gadgets, a million of everything to improve our sleep? Do you know that our sleep is becoming progressively worse year by year?
Of course. Screen time.
What?
Screen time.
It's more than just screen time. It's because we're putting so much focus and attention and thoughts about sleep that it's actually interfering with our sleep. So
I don't think that's the universal issue across the board.
No, 100%. This is why we're doing this podcast right now.
But because everybody in America is losing sleep because they're thinking about sleep.
No, what I'm saying is, listen, I'm not generalizing right now. What I'm saying is we are spending over billions of dollars a year on ways to improve our overall sleep, right? With apps and technology, of course, and gadgets and all sorts of things. And actually, the more we do that, the worse not just our sleep is, the type of sleep we're doing. So instead of sleeping like a deep, restful sleep, we may be sleeping, but poorly, we're not falling asleep as fast.
Is that causation or just correlation? Like, I don't think
let me get to my point.
Okay.
Unless you want to interrupt me again.
Which is the point.
No. It was so long-winded.
So excited.
So long-winded. But one of the things is that the less you sleep, the less you think about sleep, the better your sleep will become. So I said to my daughter the other day, you can't fall asleep. I said, you should count sheep. And so what happened? She counted the sheep, came back to my room, and she's like, Mom, I counted the sheep, and I'm still awake. That made me go down this whole rabbit hole, which then basically was another proof that the more attention that you put on the idea of you not sleeping, the less you're actually going to sleep. And there's been research to back the fact that counting sheep is actually a really bad thing to do if you want to fall asleep. So number one sleep tip is don't count sheep, and don't focus and think about you sleeping if you want to sleep better. That's part one. Part two is that they did a big study and they found that people whose diet was unprocessed vegetables, fruit, versus the same people eating a very processed diet of high sugar, high fat, they actually slept the same amount, but the quality of their sleep was exceptionally worse. So diet does have a huge correlation to how you sleep, the type of sleep you have, and the more focus you put on your sleep, the worse you end up sleeping. That's my point.
Yes, I agree.
I'm glad you're my foil.
No, I agree. I agree, but I just don't think, I think that the cause for why we are all sleeping worse has nothing to do with the sleep industry getting bigger.
Oh, no. Well, I said right now there's a lot of causes, right? There's lots of different reasons why we're not sleeping well, but I do believe that the sleep industry is actually creating more havoc for our lack of sleeping well versus how it was done 20 years ago. Like, all of these gadgets have been actually making our sleep worse, not better. And we all know how to sleep.
Do we have stats on that, though?
Yeah, a lot of stats. I'm telling you, there's a lot of research backing it.
But on the new gadgets that have only come out in the last few years, like how
5 years, like more, 5 to 10 years. The other interesting thing is,
because I just don't know how they can make that kind of causation when there's so many other factors that are affecting our sleep.
Whoa. They're looking at specific.
So for example, like if I download a sleep app, right? Like, and then my sleep is bad, but I am also still consuming like 10 hours of screen time every single day. I might not be eating as great. I might not be doing this. this. Maybe there's loud noise in my neighborhood. Like there's so many things.
Right. I'm saying apples to apples. I'm saying if your lifestyle hasn't really shifted and you're incorporating an app or you're incorporating one of those sleep trackers, but yet your lifestyle's not changing. The two things that I found to be very interesting was how diet does really affect your sleep in terms of the quality of sleep and the type of sleep. Like I said, people are eating processed food, high fat, high sugar. They may sleep the same amount of time technically, let's say, as people who are eating a very whole food diet that is like fruits and veggies and protein and all that. Just the quality is very, very different. But what I think, what I know for myself, by the way, I did a little bit of an experiment that I did it wasn't meant to be an experiment, but a few nights ago, I had the worst night's sleep. I woke up, I went to bed, let's say 12:30 at night, and I woke up at 3, and then I couldn't fall back asleep. And I hate those nights, you know, when you're trying to fall asleep, I'm turning the pillow over, and the second you start turning that pillow over, it's like, the game is over, because you get hot on one side, and the second I do that, I'm like, oh shit, I'm up all night. Because then now I'm getting myself like anxious. So that's the first thing. They say the best thing to do when that happens, instead of counting sheep, is to take a walk. Leave the environment, walk around your house, go to a different room, do something different, and then come back to bed, versus just sitting in bed and trying to fall asleep still.
When you say counting sheep, can you define that for me?
Like, you never did this?
No, I mean, I grew up with the
commercials,
so I
would say, one sheep, 99 sheep, 98, like count backwards, like counting sheep. But
no, that would drive me crazy.
But the idea is it becomes so boring and mundane that you'll fall asleep. But it just doesn't. That's not necessarily true. But what I was going to tell you is I had a terrible night's sleep. So when I woke up and I knew I had a really bad night's sleep, I said to myself, okay, because what happens normally if you have a bad night's sleep, you end up eating way more sugar, high-fat foods, like bad carbs, caffeine. And even though I knew this happened to me, I tried to make a conscientious decision to say, you know what, Jennifer? You know you had a bad night's sleep. Don't fall into that trap. Don't eat the shitty food. Don't, go for those French fries. Like, don't do those traps that happen when you have a bad night's sleep, because now you're thinking about it. Don't do it, right? And as the day kept on going, it's so true. Like even though I was conscious and doing this could happen to me, it will happen because of my terrible night's sleep, and me knowing it was going to happen, I did it. Even when I knew, my whole day was shot. Like I ate terribly. I ate way more than I would normally eat. I was like a machine. I was like a carburetor. I just stuffed and shoved food in me all day.
You're like trying to stay awake by eating, right?
Well, no, it's like it's like also you're craving salt and sugar so much more.
So interesting.
So even though I knew this was like what happened, and I tried to talk myself off the ledge, like don't let this happen to you because you know it's going to happen. Don't do it. I did it even more, and maybe that is because I was so much more. There's something to be said about being conscious about it and doing it more.
Oh my god, wait, that's the craziest thought. Like you're so exhausted that your brain actually doesn't have the strength for willpower the same way that it would if it was super rested, right? Like that's actually really interesting. That's actually so fascinating that when you're super exhausted, you make really bad choices because you are literally so tired that your brain is not at its full strength to be able to be like, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. It just kind of gives in. It becomes a lazier, more passive existence of like you give into the craving.
Willpower is a muscle like anything else. You can't rely on willpower. You can't rely on motivation. You could say discipline. Even your discipline has become weaker.
But it's like you're tired. Like you don't have you're just so exhausted. Point. It's like
so your discipline, your willpower, everything was working at like on fumes because your brain is not firing completely the way it would normally fire, but also because when you don't sleep, and I don't know the proper terminology for this, there's something that's like you're craving these other things to, I don't know, offset it.
Because like your melatonin hormone is so low that you want other things to
nothing to do with that. Why don't you Google what it is?
What am I Googling exactly?
Google, why do we crave processed food, high fat, high sugar foods when we're so tired?
You know what's also really interesting is that women need more sleep than men, and it's not discussed enough, like at all. To function, women need on average like 1 to 3 more hours.
Oh, I never heard that.
Oh yeah, guys can go on like 7-8 hours. Women need like 8 to 10.
What? First of all, that is absolutely a load of garbage.
Scientifically true. Go Google it.
Okay, when have I ever? I haven't gotten 8 to 10 hours of sleep since I was 4 years old.
I absolutely get that much sleep.
Okay, you don't have 2 kids, and
Right.
let me tell you something.
Yeah, but just because you can survive off of that doesn't mean that your body would not thrive so much better on more sleep.
Okay, but even
that's
when
what
I
I'm
didn't, I was gonna say, even when I didn't have kids, I think 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours, I believe is sufficient for most people.
You're
for
one
most
female.
people.
This is across the board. Speaking from the hormonal perspective, women need more hours of sleep.
I beg to differ.
Google it.
Okay, Google it. That's like, Google it. Do women
need more sleep than men? What does it say? Women are multitaskers. They do all at once.
Use their brains more than men. It says that Sleep Research Center. Women do use their brains more than men. So much more, so that yes, they do require more sleep. Again, with Google, if I were to
It's also a
Google,
hormonal thing. Jen, I have so many hormonal issues that I have gone down the rabbit hole of hormones and women so much. Trust me, they absolutely need more sleep than men. It's like a scientific thing. We just do. We function differently. Our hormones require more recovery time.
Okay, I buy it. I think you're right.
I think that actually a bigger problem is like what you're talking about, like being a mom. I think that's why it can be so draining on women, is that they do so much more of the workload. They end up getting less sleep than their partners and their male partners, which is even crazier because they actually require more to rejuvenate. So it's like the opposite should be happening.
Oh my God. Let me just make sure you understand. I don't disagree that women are in a position where their hormones and what's required of us and all this other thing, for sure, it would make sense that we need more sleep. I was just saying, I haven't had more than 7 or 8 hours of sleep ever. And so if I can get 7 hours of sleep, I feel exceptionally well rested. I wouldn't even know how to sleep more than that. I think I'm actually okay on 7 to 8 hours of sleep, actually. But
even like back in college and stuff, where
never.
you're always like that's crazy. I could sleep like 12 hours if I wanted to. I love to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, that's not how I was born or built. But I will say that it is obviously important for focus, for being alert, for energy, for aging, for longevity, for health, overall health. Sleep is 100% now become known to be the number one health tip that you can do to make your life better in every way possible. And so if you were wanting to have more sleep, number one, the best thing I think you can do besides buying all these trackers and downloading every app and doing all these other things that the multi-billion-dollar industry tell you to do, the best thing to do is create not a schedule, but curate and design your day where you allow yourself for that allotment. So like for me, I have 2 kids. It's not that easy, right? Like I have to make sure my kids are in bed before I go to bed, make sure that everything's done. Like, you know what I mean? That's much more difficult for parents. So what is the way around that? Like, do you then,
I think you have to create a nighttime routine.
I was gonna say, like, but even creating a nighttime routine happens when you are a parent or you have responsibilities. It's not so easy to create a nighttime routine when you have 2 kids and one kid doesn't want to go to bed and like they come and they bed, or they do all these other things that then disrupt your honesty. If you do have kids, you could still have kids. I was kidding. Kind of, not really. Doing other activities and other things during the day that will allow you the best chance of having a good night's sleep. By the way, that is exercise. Working out is a huge factor. Huge.
I sleep way better on days that I've gotten a good workout.
100%.
Oh my God.
Diet, huge. Another big one, I use my sauna. I think, I don't know if I showed it. I have the portable sauna massage. It's amazing.
It's like 100 saunas now.
No, but that one is like this. I have this new sauna. It's a portable sauna that is full infrared. Red light. It's super actually affordable.
It's infrared? I thought it was a steam thing.
No, it's infrared.
No way.
Right, yes. And so why I love it is, by the way, and like it is, like I have it in my office and it really helps me before I go to sleep. It basically like fatigues my body, like relaxes my body and my mind, and I love it. So that's a really great modality to me to help me fall asleep.
That's how I feel about baths.
That's
really
another
like,
great way.
Like something that if I've had a really stressful day and I know I'm not going to get sleep when I just get into bed, like I'll take a bath and then I'll put lavender Epsom salt in it, which is really great. And I'll always candles because I love scented candles, and I'll also put lavender oil on my pillows. Like that's a huge game changer for me.
Yeah, I love that. That's what I do
super,
too.
Super calming.
So I have the lavender essential oils.
Yeah.
It's really good.
That's too as well. Like yeah.
That's a great tip. So they obviously say, like, you know, I don't want to bore you with the same things that people say, like, you know, to sleep better, like make sure you're sleeping in a dark room, make sure that the temperature as a cold, make sure that's all fine and dandy. But another thing is make sure you actually like create your life before you get into bed that allows you to actually sleep well with quality versus, you know, not. That's the point.
I think that what you said about the sleep quality being different, like you might sleep the same amount of time, but it might not be as meaningful of sleep. That to me hits me really hard because I do use a tracker. I mean, I haven't used it in forever, but I use the Fitbit. It was quite a wake up call, like how often I'm awake.
See, but that's
how often I roll around and how often and it did make me, but it does change. Like I can notice a difference in my sleep when I've eaten right and when I've worked out that day. Like to me, exercise is a really big game changer for sleep.
It's the number one game.
I find it hard to sleep if I haven't worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why I mean, I'm so passionate about exercise because it literally helps with so many things. Everything. Seriously.
Literally everything.
With your physical health, with your mental health, with your sleep, with your confidence. There's like nothing that exercise cannot cure.
Yeah.
I kid you not. Like,
No,
and I'm not just saying that because I'm not getting paid by the Exercise Association. I am serious.
The World Exercise
Yes,
Industry.
the World Exercise Association is not paying me. I'm not a spokesperson for them, but I should be if there was such a thing.
There was.
Because it's free. It's free. You don't have to go to a gym to exercise. You can exercise anywhere, like anytime, anywhere. There's no excuse. And it literally is a cure-all for so many things, including sleep, mental health, including self-esteem, including. That is literally, that is why I'm so passionate about it. And like I said, you got to create a situation and a platform for you to win in life. And if you want to win in life, you got to like stack the deck for you. And exercise is the number one thing you should start with. You know, that is basically, you know, end period. That is it. And it will help your sleep. I guarantee it.
Wait, let me just quickly read these results from Google. So
we're still on this? We're going to wrap.
The food thing. No, this is the food thing that you asked me to look up. It says it comes down to a balance between the hormones leptin, which suppress appetite, and ghrelin, which increases hunger. So like those hormones get completely off balance. So when you're tired, you crave it a lot more.
Yes, you know what? Actually, I do know that one. I just, for whatever reason, I just didn't remember it at that moment.
It's fine.
When?
You're tall, so I see you as very smart. Regardless.
That's a callback to another podcast about
I should check out.
About tall and intelligence. You should listen to that one. All right, guys. So good night. Hope you sleep well tonight, and don't forget to exercise, eat well, keep your room dark, and keep the temperature low. And what was it? Don't have kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't have kids.
Number one top tip.
Number one top tip. And don't count sheep. All right, guys. Have a great day and great evening.